former President Barack Obama out in full force denouncing President Trump's ties with Russia. Things like this.
It is clear that President Trump is working very hard to try to distract the American public and the news media from the growing scandal about why his administration and why he himself has, at best, not been forthcoming about their talks and their ties with Russia.
He is much cozier to Russia than we ever were in the Obama administration.
His whole national security team has condemned the Russians and Putin, and he still winds up defending Putin.
But hey, didn't those same people give Hillary Clinton a pass, a free pass on her connections to Russia? Our next guest says absolutely. The author of Clinton Cash and the president of the Government Accountability Institute, Peter Schweizer, joins us right now from Florida. Peter, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
There is quite a double standard here, isn't there?
There is. I mean, with the Clintons, you have this long history involving the transfer of huge sums of money to the Clinton Foundation, to the Clintons personally, to people like John Podesta, her campaign manager, and the Russians getting favors in return while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. And I've been saying for a couple of years, and there's been a lot of reporting by the New York Times and Washington Post to confirm those findings, that this ought to be investigated. And the same people who are now saying investigate Trump were completely radio silent when it came to the Clintons. Sure. It's a glaring double standard.
And we should point out James Clapper from the Intel community made it very clear over the weekend, you know, he's looked at all this stuff before he left office. Zero evidence of any collusion between the campaign and the Russians. So we know, according to him, nothing. There's no there there. But with Hillary Clinton, there's plenty of there there. Tell us about this Skokovo project.
Yeah, well, Skokovo was this, brilliant idea, I'll say that sarcastically, to create a Russian version of Silicon Valley, whereby the U.S. would input technology and the Russians would create this infrastructure. And the problem is that these U.S. companies got involved. A lot of them ended up giving money to the Clinton Foundation. Russian executives involved in Skokovo were donors to the Clinton Foundation. And all this technology flowed to Russia. What did the FBI say? The FBI and other government reports said this was a massive tech transfer that benefited the Russian military. So you have this clear instance where technology is flowing to Russia, money is flowing to the Clintons, and what I've said is we need to investigate to see how those two might possibly be connected.
Sure.
Radio silence from these same people who now want to investigate Trump. My view is we ought to look at all of it. We always need to be concerned about what the Russians might be doing.
Sure. I know you have written that essentially John Podesta was a business partner with Putin and with the Russian government as well. And had she been elected, he certainly would have been a part of the administration in some fashion.
I think about this. I mean, this is amazing. Again, stunning example of what's being ignored. John Podesta was on the executive board of a small energy company called Juul. Vladimir Putin's government invests 1 billion rubles in the company, of which he is a shareholder, through an instrument called Rusnano, which is called Putin's child by the Russian science minister. And he maintained those shares until he went into the Obama White House. He then set up an LLC and transferred them to his daughter to try to hide the ownership. That is business partnership 101, and that also needs to be investigated.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. It just gets weirder by the day. All right.